Hi, and welcome to this guide by TPU on how to research a law firm. This is a question we get asked very frequently, and we thought we'd put together this helpful guide that hopefully does help you in going about researching a law firm. So, this is our overview of topics, and as you can see, we will cover a variety of points on how to best improve the way you go about researching law firms. We'll start by identifying key practice areas, researching specific transactions, then looking at culture, unique selling points, learning more about people at the firm, and lastly, using resources. So the first point is identifying key practice areas. And the starting point here is to look at client services, which is where the firms advertise their experience. And what's important here is to look at how each firm describes each practice area. If they are among the best in the world at what they do, they will tell you. For example, Clifford Chance's corporate says we are a leading global corporate and M&A practice and are among a small group of elite firms at the top of the market. So that obviously shows how they have a great corporate department. And what you have to do once you read into these practice areas on the firm's websites is then go on to cross-reference the information with reputable global rankings and guides for example, Chambers Global or the Legal 500. So if you look at Linklaters, for example, they're in band 1 for corporate M&A and also for litigation and banking and finance. So this outlines that these practice areas are very good for Linklaters. And aside from this, you can also look at awards. So have the firms gained any awards for their practice areas or for the work they've done in the past years. And in addition to this, also look at if they had any deals that have been in the news, which you've heard about, or major deals with major companies and businesses. It's always great to use that to then support your knowledge of why this practice area is so good. Going on from this last point we mentioned, we can talk about researching specific transactions and consequently how to discuss them. And the important thing here is to use a clear structure, highlight issues and solutions, and also weave in your interest for the firm and its department. So going on from this personal aspect, which is always important to show that you personally are interested in this firm and in this department and why, you can also link your personal opinion to the story to make yourself stand out a bit and prove you're not just reading off a news article, but you actually thought of the story and you're able to discuss it confidently with your own take on it. So to show you how to do this, we've gone through an example story, which is Alan Novery and Clifford Chance advising on Indonesia's largest bond offering of 4.3 billion US dollars. So if you've previously seen our video in the last guide, we've gone through this guide. So it's issues, context, trends, issues and solutions, and link to firm. It's a very simple guide. You may not have heard of it before. It's one we like to use. So let's go through it with the story we just mentioned. So the issue here is obviously Indonesia's global bond issuance. And what you want to do here is just explain what happened and where. So Indonesia's global bond issuance. And then move on to the second point, which is just about giving some context. So who's involved? Obviously A&O and Clifford Chance of advising. But aside from that, who's impacted? So businesses in the region, obviously the government who's giving out the bond, and then link this to the trend, right? The trend is something we always talk about. It's a major thing when you're discussing a story to push your understanding and you're showing your understanding of your knowledge. A further step, what you want to do is consider a story and then link it to trends. And in this case, we can see how this story can link to the economic fallout caused by COVID-19 and how governments around the world have been applying these measures. So, for example, bonds to kind of survive through this period and tackle this issue. And talking about issues, our 4th point is issues and solutions. And what we mean here is think of the story. And usually where there's a story, when there's firms advising, there might be some issues or challenges, you may think of them. So what problems could arise with bonds? What problems could arise with stimulus packages? So potentially the government, for example, going into debt. What issues arise with the economic fallout in the Asian region, and particularly with emerging markets and a lack of monetary supply, etc. And in terms of this, then consider solutions, right? We have a stimulus package. It may create problems with debt, but as a solution to this, the government could make sure it's balanced efficiently, and obviously it's effective in sustaining businesses, which then in the long run would sustain the government. For each issue, kind of provide a solution to ensure that you think like a lawyer, really, because that's what lawyers do, isn't it? Provide solutions to issues. And the last point is just to link it to the firm you're applying to, and particularly to the department you're interested in, and try to weave in your own interests. So if you're interested in this, for example, I don't know, corporate department or restructuring department, whatever it is, make sure you say in a way why, and potentially do this through the story you've just discussed. Obviously, we kind of rushed through this, but if you want a clearer view of how to discuss a story, we have a guide on our YouTube channel, or if you don't find it there, just send us a message on our social media pages or through our email, and we'll be more than happy to send it through, and hopefully you'll find that helpful. So unique selling point. The key here is in the concept itself. It has to be unique. It's what distinguishes the firm from its competitors. So we have a few examples here of what a USP could look like, and it could be a niche practice area or being a single site firm, but the essential thing is that it has to be unique. So if you take Simmons & Simmons, Bird & Bird, Taylor Westing, they all seem a bit similar in a way as types of firms. But if you dive in and you dig for the information you really need to make these firms stand out, they'll always have a unique point to them that differentiates them from all the rest. So if you look at Bird & Bird, they don't only focus on disruptive industries, but also actively help clients disrupt those industries. And you can use as an example OneWeb as its client to support this point. So the key here is make sure that what you talk about for one firm does not apply to another firm. So you can't just copy paste some information and it could kind of work for a multiple number of firms. It has to work for only that one firm if it's truly a unique selling point. When using resources, this is a very interesting one, and it's something that's arisen as of late. A lot of firms have been publishing podcasts covering commercial and legal issues. So if you listen to these podcasts, it's a great way to get an insight into the work that the firms do, or their views on business environments, or also their predictions for the future. And it's a great way to get in their, possibly also in their way of thinking, which could then help you once you go to the interview stage. And aside from podcasts, some firms also have blogs, which are used for the same purpose and provide you with another great opportunity to build up your knowledge for the firm. And another little point we mentioned down there is that if you listen to these resources, if you read these resources, you may learn something that particularly interests you. And the great thing about that is that you can then reference it in your application, and hopefully that could make you stand out. And it's a great point for possibly recruiters of the firm to see, to show that you really engage with the firm and you're passionate about joining it. And going on from that, another thing you want to do is learn more about the people at the firm. And you can do this by using key resources such as the law firm websites we mentioned about, but also LinkedIn. Especially as of late with COVID-19 and the whole remote working, LinkedIn has gained a major role really in networking. So make sure that your profile is up to date. Make sure that you can connect with potentially, recruiters or people that work at the firm. And in my personal experience, a lot of people are always happy to help if you do send the right message and you just not just copy pasting it, but you show that you're actually interested and would like for help. People would generally like to help you in most cases at least. And obviously, aside from this, networking opportunities, there's always open days, internships, vacation schemes, uni fairs. All these opportunities that are great to get in contact with the firm, with recruiters, or whoever's representing the firm at the specific event. So make sure you put yourself out there and participate. Also, as of late, with webinars, a lot of firms are organizing webinars. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for you to meet them from the comfort of your own home. So that's a great solution for now. We hope this guide was sounded helpful for you. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us at either our social media pages or through our email at thebusinessupdate.team@gmail.com. We'd be more than happy to help you out. And yeah, we hope this guide was helpful, really. It's a lot of information to take in. We can send you the slides if you'd like through your email if you want to contact us to receive them. And aside from that, we hope you stay safe. We hope you stay commercially aware and make sure you follow us for daily updates. And thank you from the TBU team.